Good day, good afternoon, good night. How you doing? This is MCM and you're listening to You're Probably Right. Today we are going to have a serious conversation. Well, maybe not a serious conversation, but there's going to be a serious talk happening here. Now, of course, I'm only doing the talking, but just stay tuned. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to You're Probably Right podcast. I'm your host, MCM, and I'm just letting you know that, you know what? You're welcome at my house anytime to come and chill out. So check it out. I'm going to talk about a few different things today. But, first I'm going to start off in a certainly a weird way. I'm going to tell you some stuff straight up about me, and you might think they're weird, or maybe you'll relate. Have you ever had, or do you have things that you can't do? Because that's how it started with me anyway. Things that you can't do so well that other people seem to find, I guess, second nature would be the proper term. It could be something like, maybe you can reach around and touch from your right hand, touch your left shoulder, or maybe you can't do that. Maybe your muscles are too big on your shoulders or something like that. Or maybe they've just always been that way. It has nothing to do with what you've done. And I guess I should probably explain, because it's probably not a good example. I'll just get right into the list. So I started off with a list that I was trying to get to 10. It seems like I got there. Let's see. So and you might hopefully be able to relate. So this just doesn't make me sound like a total weirdo. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's okay. Because if you've been listening to my podcast all of these weeks, then you're probably already there as far as what I am. All right, so check it out. So the first thing that constantly bothers me is I can't spell the word tomorrow. Now, obviously, I can look, and because I'm reading this list off of my phone, I know that it's spelled Tomorrow. But for some reason, when I'm actually writing it out, and yes, it's even worse if I'm actually writing it with a pen or a pencil. Luckily, there's something called Grammarly for all of you people out there, for people like me. But for some reason, that's just a word. And I've heard other people say that they have their words as well. But for some reason, it always bothered me that such an elementary word like tomorrow. And I mean, you use it so often, at least I do. Like, I'll see you tomorrow, and maybe it'll be a text, and it's like, man, did I write it right? Hopefully even when that red line underneath the word doesn't come, I'm still thinking that maybe it's spelt wrong. Like, I really have no clue. And it's simple enough to, you'd think, to remember that it has two R's and one M, but for some reason I can't remember if it has TOMMOROW or TOMMORROW. You understand? It just, for some reason, it gets jumbled up in my head. I've never been able to really figure out why. The next thing that I have issue with, and hopefully you're not hearing too much sounds around me, because there's some noise in the background, and I'm not sure if it's picking it up. But the next thing is, I can't shuffle cards. Now, coming from a family who would often play like crazy eights or go fish or whatever like that, for some reason, now I can do the first shuffle. So in other words, the one where it just goes card over card, it just goes and it shuffles. But then there's that one where you pull it back up, and then they also do the same sound back up. And people have tried to show me, people have demonstrated, but for whatever reason, I can't do that. I'm not sure if you can relate, because, maybe it's just how weird I am. And the stuff on these lists might get a little bit, I don't know, sick or whatever it is. But trust me, I'm not trying to gross anybody else. I'm just being straight up. And, as I said, hopefully when I'm speaking in these podcasts, hopefully somebody can relate to understand that, you're not the only one that has quirks, or you're not the only one that might be a little bit off or a little bit weird. Because if you are, then guess what? At least you know that I'm on your team as well. Okay, the next thing. I can't tread water. Now, you might be sitting there saying, look, buddy, I can't even swim. And, I really feel bad if that's your case, because I know that when I was 12 years old, I turned 12 in May of whatever year, and I was going to a swimming pool by a building that my friend lived at. Sorry about that. There was a little interference and I had to pause for a sec, so hopefully I don't lose my spot. But basically, I was over at my friend's building, which is an outside pool that we were swimming at, or supposedly trying to swim at, and it took me from, let's say, the end of June all the way to maybe the first week in August to learn how to swim. And this was from trying all kinds of daring things, like jumping into the deep end, close enough to the ladder, of course, so I could hold on and pull myself back up, to just trying to do a regular front crawl in the shallow end. And for some reason, and I'm kind of veering off the story, but that's okay, because you're here to listen, right? I finally learned how to swim, and that was after me actually dreaming that I could swim the night before. And oddly enough, I'm not sure if you're one of these people, because I guess this would have been on my list if the dream never happened, possibly. But as with swimming, also with riding a bike, I had a dream the night before I did both that I was doing them. In other words, I had a vision, but it was just me seeing myself actually doing it. And then the next day, I magically was able to do it. I can't probably explain the concept 100%, but for whatever reason, just seeing myself doing something led me to be able to actually do that thing. And I guess that's when people say, if you can dream it, you can do it. It's the weirdest thing, but it's actually true, at least in my case, because I literally did dream it. But the point was, after teaching myself how to swim, the first day I went into the pool in the deep end, and I had a swim race with the 6 or 7 guys that I would go to the pool with every day for the whole summer. And I beat them all in a swim race on the first day. And this might have been after half an hour of swimming. And it's the weirdest thing. Who knows? Maybe I could have been some serious, amazing swimmer, but I'm, barely 6 foot, so probably not Olympic. But, I was honestly never beaten in a swim race. I even tied the best swimmer at my high school in a 100-meter sprint. The weirdest thing. But after being able to look at diagrams on the side of a pool in my gym class, I was able to demonstrate every single stroke there was. But for some reason, year after year after year, and up until now, 20-odd, 30-odd years later, I still can't tread water. So that always bugged me. So, I guess this list should be called things that bug me that I can't do, that most people or a lot of people can do, or a lot of things that I think I should be able to do that for some reason I just can't. It's like it's a mental block. So that's how it feels to me. So no, if you're wondering, I don't feel that I should be perfect or I should be able to do everything. But the stuff on this list just seems like things that I should be able to do. So after that, we got can't spell tomorrow. I can't shuffle cards the proper way. I can't tread water. And next, I can't do advanced math like calculus or functions for whatever reason. Now, of course, I know you're sitting there saying, join the club, buddy. But for some reason, I really, really can't get the concept. You can throw chemistry in there. I remember I had a chemistry teacher in high school, and For the life of me, I believe he probably wasn't the best science teacher, but I know for a fact that I wasn't the best science student. And I just couldn't accept some of the formulas. It's like I wanted to know why I needed to put iron, 2 irons plus an oxygen equals, and like I needed to know why. And because I couldn't get past the why, I wasn't able to even start to think that I could memorize any of these formulas, and hence I ended up being, and I'm sure for more than just those reasons, a horrible chemistry student. And it was the same thing with math. Once math started getting a little bit more complicated, just accepting rules and not understanding why the rules were as such led me to not be able to go very far in math. But I'm sure, as you'll hear probably in my later parts of this podcast, well, not very far after this, but for some reason I just couldn't grasp certain parts of math, and it really bothered me. Somebody was telling me that they have IQ of 110, and they were casting dispersions on people like me who did my IQ test online and tried to find the most complicated, harder level ones. But apparently all the ones on the IQ tests on the online are horrible. And I didn't want to tell them what I had on mine because it was way higher than 110. And I know other people took it too, so it's kind of like I still had some kind of a way of gauging it according to, I guess, other people's abilities and accomplishments, whatever it is. And it's just weird. So going back to me and calculus and functions and stuff like that, I just can't get it. No finite math for me. All right, moving right on. I'm pretty sure I didn't explain that correctly, but it is what it is. I can't easily make out words when people try to spell them for me. And the way I usually explain it is, I can't spell things in the air. As a matter of fact, I can't add things sometimes in the air either. I believe some people have that vision where they can actually literally see the letters as people are saying them to them. But I draw a blank. I'm listening to the tone of their voice, the pitch, the canter? Is it canter? Everything. Like the way that they're saying them, so that I even lose the words. So somebody will say, you know what? I think it's time that little Johnny goes to BED. And for some reason, like obviously me saying it, I know exactly what I was spelling and exactly what I was saying it. But like I was spelling it and I was saying it, so I knew exactly what I was trying to spell. But for some reason, like if somebody was doing it to me, I can't, for some reason, like, I mean, BED I probably would have been able to get because it's 3 letters, but once you throw probably 4 or 5 letters, I would probably get lost. Like if I said, who took the PLANT? And you'd be like, oh, plant. Like it would take me that little time of processing. I would have to literally memorize quickly what they said and say it back to myself in my brain. And then, whereas some people would say these things to me and expect me to fully 100% get exactly what they're saying. And for some reason, I can't do that. I can't take words or math right out of thin air and put the word together or put the sums together, if you understand what I mean. Again, a thing that bothers me. Next on the list, I can't cross my legs. Now, obviously, I can literally cross them, per se, but you know how you would like sit on the floor and, you know, they'd say crisscross applesauce, spoons in a bowl or whatever it is, and actually literally be able to sit there cross-legged. I can't do it. I'm the one of the people, even in high school, not in high school, in kindergarten, where I would cross my legs and I'd have to have my 2 arms behind me, almost like a kickstand, keeping me up right. Whereas I know people way bigger than me can easily cross their legs, not only on the floor, but they can cross them on a bed. To me, it's a total mystery. Along with the people who can crouch down, where their rear end is almost touching the ground and they're on their feet, if you understand. So they're not on their knees, they're on their feet. Like I can't do that for the life of me. And when I see people do these things, I'm telling you, it seems like the most amazing thing, I guess, just because I can't do it. But, you know, I look at my family and I realize that, you know, a lot of them are very flexible, and for some reason I have no flexibility. If I even try to cross my legs sitting on a chair in the various ways that people do it, the best I can do is cross my legs at the ankles, and that's by leaning way back. But I can't sit there and I know that, you know, maybe my thighs are big, but I know people, again, who have way bigger thighs and can do that. Again, just on my list. Next, I can't do the whistle where you put your two fingers in your mouth. I think it's beneath your tongue, and you know that high pitch, or like when people are applauding and people put their two fingers in there, and wherever that sound is coming from, I have no idea. I can mimic it, but I can't do it properly. Next on the list, and I mean, this may sound all weird to you, but guys, I'm just being straight up. Like, I guess some people are out here just to entertain, and I guess I'm more like connecting with my audience, I guess, giving you the straight up. And as I said before, if you have your little weird quirks or things that you're unable to do, well, you're not the only one. Next, I can never remember, and I mean, I actually saw this in a movie that I was watching. I think it was called Always, Definitely, Maybe, or something, whatever it was. But I can never remember if fiction is the real one or the fake one. And I've figured it out, because you have the word fission, friction, and fiction. And again, I'll say it: fission, friction, and fiction. It seems like maybe there's some science in there or something. It just kind of throws me off. So I'm always like, oh, I want to read a fiction book. So it's almost like, for some reason, my brain makes the word fiction and truth interchangeable for no reason. So then when it says I'm reading a fiction book, I'm thinking, oh, it's a book about truth. It's a book about somebody's life. It's like, no, non-fiction. Whereas to me, non-fiction sounds like non-truth. I don't know why my brain correlates it that way, but that will always have me thinking for a second. I mean, it's not probably as bad as me trying to spell the word tomorrow, but it's pretty bad for me still, because I still got to think about it for a second if I'm reading a non-fiction or a fiction book. I don't know why they just didn't say real. Or I guess that's probably why. Yeah. All right, anyway, next one, got a couple more. I can't grow a full beard. Now, that's just, it is what it is. I mean, I can get where it comes down the side of the face, down chin or whatever it is, but it doesn't go very full, say, back up to my nose, if you understand. I can get it, like, I think, even with my mouth, but that's about as high. But it's not a big thing, I guess, because I mean, a lot of women could probably relate, right? So yeah, I can't grow a full beard. I can fake it, but no. I can line it up and everything, but no. And let's see, the last one. Every time, yeah. You know, I'm not sure if you have this place where you live, but I think most people do. Okay, it's Salvation Army. And for some reason, every time I'm trying to say the word Salvation Army, like I donated many times to Salvation Army, but for some reason the word Old Navy comes out, and it's just the weirdest thing. Like, I know the Navy and the Army are part of forces, like armed forces or whatever it is, but for some reason, whenever I'm thinking of trying to say the word Salvation Army, Old Navy comes out. And to me, that's probably the funniest one on the list, but it happens to me pretty much every time. Now, I'm going to give you another list. Now, hopefully you're not grossed out by this one. I mean, it doesn't get that gross, but it is pretty gross, I guess. I don't know, some of it. Things that I can do that I've noticed a lot of people can't do for whatever reason. And I'm sure I could probably, I didn't spend much time on this list, So, because I mean, these are things that I can do, so I don't really sit there thinking about stuff that I can do that a lot of people can't do, really. So this one was kind of put together a lot quicker with a lot less thought. But first, I can lift one eyebrow at a time. And for some reason, I know a lot of people can't do that, apparently. I don't know, you can try it out. If you never have, who knows? Second, I can move my ears. Man, I can move the left one by itself. I can't necessarily move the right one by itself, but that's just whatever it is. You could try it as you're listening to me here. Thirdly, I can pull my lips right to left. Now, and you may think it's just, making funny faces. So in other words, I can point my top lip to the right side and pull my left lip, my bottom lip to the left without grabbing my lips and doing it with my hands. Just literally, I can just muscle control my face, and I can do that. And for some reason, I know, again, a lot of people can't do that. Weird. I guess this part is just basically muscle control. I can move my pectoral muscles one at a time. Now, if you ever watch cartoons or maybe like something with Arnold Schwarzenegger or bodybuilders, I can move both of my chest muscles up and down. Although pretty much out of shape these days, so it doesn't look like much, but I can do that. Again, I'm just looking at stuff that I've seen other people try doing. For some reason, I can do it, and I've noticed a lot of people can't. And this is obviously a pretty lame list, but it is what it is. Give me my victories, man. I can do bird sounds. Now you may think, yeah, right, buddy. All right, so I can actually demonstrate this. This is a podcast. Now, hopefully I can do it because I'm smiling. So let's see, bird sound. So I can do like that, or I can do a mourning dove. Like that. And again, I've done it many times, even made the first one sound more like a telephone ring, and I've literally seen people looking around for the phone that's ringing. And of course, that was when people were using landlines, although, still businesses still works, but whatever. Next. Now, this one might be a little gross. I can spit over 20 feet. Now, I know people who try to spit sometimes and they end up spitting right on their shoe or even on their shirt. Or maybe just 1 foot away, but I literally can like how people would take a cherry seed and spit it far. I can do that just with regular spit, but that's where I'm going to stop there because I'm not trying to gross anybody out. But it's a weird and odd talent, I suppose. Now this one's probably really going to get you, but I can literally regurgitate on demand. So if I was at work and I wanted to go home, I can literally do that on demand no matter what. I don't know if it's an extra muscle in my esophagus or what it is, and the funny thing is it doesn't come up like how it does when you had no choice but to do it, if you understand. It just comes up chewed up. But anyway, I digress. All right, gross people out. Next. Oh, this is the last one. I only have 8 for this one. I can cut my hair myself. Now you might be like, whoop-de-doo. This one I actually practiced, and this was from a kid growing up in the 80s. And I wouldn't necessarily get my hair done on time by my parents. So I found out that, if I use the big mirror in front of my face, and I have a handheld mirror, I could actually cut my hair. Which, if you've ever tried it, I know some people have tried it just to even things out at the back or whatever it is. It's not that easy. Because in essence, you have to train your brain to do things slightly backwards. So, there's my list of what I can do that I guess you could say a lot of people can't necessarily do. All of those things, but that was it. That second list wasn't actually that great, but I can tell you that the first list was definitely a frustrating set of things. So there you go. This is a little about me. I guess I could talk about that situation that's happening with Russia and the Ukraine right now, but honestly, I'm not really sure. Like, I know that the Ukraine used to be part of the USSR, and apparently Putin, president or chancellor Putin, wants the Ukraine back under his wing. Or I'm not really sure, but it seems more like he's just not happy with the government or the governing body of the Ukraine more than he is about the people and wanting to destroy them. And I mean, depending on how you look at things, right? And I'm not saying I'm all for Russia doing what they're doing, but it's like, yeah, they want their country back. And I mean, the USSR was disbanded, I guess would be the best thing, or broken up, like what, in 1991, which wasn't actually that long ago. But the one thing that I will say that is weird about this whole situation, because honestly, I really don't know fully. I've listened to people, talk about it and wax crazy and pontificate about the whole situation and give their side of what they think is happening. But I mean, they want their country back. Maybe they shouldn't be going in and messing with civilians and running them out of there. But one thing I will say, it's weird how, if you look back in history again to the Spanish flu, you had World War I between 1914 and 1919, or 1919, right? And so you had World War I, and then you had the Spanish flu. And it seems like everything's working in reverse, and let's just hope this isn't World War III coming up. But we had COVID-19 in 2020, and now all of a sudden we have Russia raising hell with the Ukraine and all the other countries taking exception. But the war that they're waging seems to be more of a financial war. I mean, I heard of companies sending $10 million to aid the Ukraine in firearms and whatever else they need the money for. And countries like Canada refusing to allow the Russian banks to take part in some types of financial benefits. Or the funniest one I heard was there's a restaurant in Montreal, like this is the news, that refuses to use the name poutine because, that famous fries with gravy and curds, cheese curds or whatever it is on it. They refuse to use that word because of this. Then this is supposed to be some type of protest. Like Putin is sitting there saying, oh no, they don't say poutine anymore in Montreal, Canada. Absolutely ridiculous. And COVID, it seems to be just kind of dissipating into thin air. That's not the news anymore. And the only thing that I'm wishing is that they would just call it quits on the masks at the same time, since they're thinking of releasing everything as far as safety measures are concerned. Although there is a new variant out there, oddly enough. Anyhow, also, and I'm just wrapping this up here, guys, but there are apparently, 500,000 people, whatever the maximum that they would generally let in from a country. I think they were saying it's 500,000 or something like that. But apparently they're thinking of letting all these people into Canada right away. And I think they did a vote. I don't know who, they're doing all these votes, these polls all the time. I'm never actually added in one of these polls. I'd like to be added one of these years in one of these polls. At my age, I think I should have been at least added into one of them. 67% of the population, or of the people who have been polled, think that they should immediately in Canada let in all the Ukrainians that are displaced or who are running as refugees from the Ukraine due to what Russia is doing. And the only thing I'm going to say is, and I remember 2005, I think it is, when all the genocide that they said was happening in Sri Lanka. And now I look at the population in Toronto and Scarborough and Markham and Canada here, and honestly, it makes me go, But I mean, it is what it is. So all I'm going to say, if I was a world leader and I was trying to in some way infiltrate another country like Canada, I would stage some sort of a war to get a lot of my people, or people who are from a neighboring country who have a lot of the same ideals and beliefs. I would actually wage a supposed war, supposedly, and rush in my fellow countrymen or people who are almost like my countrymen into that country like Canada, if we actually wanted Canada. But that's probably for a higher level of thought. Let's hope that Russia leaves the Ukraine alone, and hopefully that UN or the G6 or the United Nations or whatever comes behind the Ukraine so that Russia can leave the Ukrainians alone. I know that people like Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kush, what's her name? I can't remember her name is. But I'm looking at the last names. Maybe they have something to do with the country, and that's why they're raising money, millions. I don't know where these money. Who's gonna get the money? I always wonder when people are raising money for countries, kind of like the truckers. The money could have got right to them from a GoFundMe thing, and for some reason the money just went somewhere else magically. But anyway, that's it for this week. Take care. This is MCM signing off for You Probably Right, because I am. No, just messing with you. Thanks for coming out, y'all. Take care. Hey, come check out You Probably Right podcast. Society is getting more unpredictable every day, but at the same time, predictable in its unpredictability. Say that 4 times real fast. Come with me as I attempt to find clarity in all the fog while staying way outside the box and kicking the box way down the road with my size 12 dogs. I use the Bible, experience, education, fortune, misfortune, life's lessons, life's mistakes to sort through all the mess. I talk about news, God, God, self-help, sports, sickness, health, music, parenting, love, humbleness, hurt, pain, joy, and all the things that might make you say, I never thought of it that way. Hopefully, anyway. Also, I take a stab at answering tough and not so tough questions, and all the while understand that, listen, sometimes you end up in the hot seat and there's no thermostat. Well, that's how it is here. And because there's no topic, very few topics off the table, Torontonians will understand that Doug Ford reference there. Hopefully the podcast will be helpful and uplifting. And hey, maybe you'll find your own private Idaho here somewhere. Hope to see you soon.